Welcome to EnVision Center News, where we discuss community impact and involvement with today's nonprofit leaders and philanthropists. Thank you for joining us here today on EnVision Center News. I'm here with Brent Baker from the Pend Oreille Economic Partnership. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's start with just telling us a little bit about the Pend Oreille Economic Partnership and your role there and why you're here today.
Okay, yeah, there is a bit of story to that. So the Pend Oreille Economic Partnership is part of the Bonner County Economic Development Corporation that was founded in 2000 by the original, I think it was 11 or 12 business owners and community members who formed the organization to broadly across the county provide free services to the community for economic and workforce development. They really wanted everything they did to be provided free to the public, and they wanted the big players at the time to step up and support that, which they did. So it was an amazing effort that they did, and it did really, really well, and survived the crash of 2008. And with no doubt, the whole community was bruised by that and the Great Recession that followed. And then it rebuilt again and kept going, and then we had the COVID hit, and then the threat of the inflation and possible recession following that. So it's been through a lot. In 2022, I think it was, through the 21 and 22, through a grant provided by the city of Sandpoint, they got together and did a kind of a rebranding, a revisioning, a new strategy document, and new bylaws. And at that time, they took on the DBA of the Pend Oreille Economic Partnership, that better describes what they do and the region they serve. And they had been mistakenly thought of as being part of Bonner County government, which we are not. We're a 501c6 nonprofit. And through the COVID area, they distributed a lot of grants to help. In collaboration with the city of Sandpoint and with a lot of the local businesses, helped a lot of the Main Street businesses with $5,000 grants to get through the tough times. But in that process, membership started, falling off with all that uncertainty. Mm-hmm. And it went from an organization at one time of 100 members down to 15 members, 12 of which were paying members. And it really needs to get back up to where it was. And the only governmental entity that's actively a member of the city of Sandpoint, and really it's serving the county. So we want to get all 9 cities involved again under the economic partnership, and along with Bonner County. And we just got a $30,000 grant from Department of Commerce.
Fantastic.
For rural economic development. So we're trying to rebuild, pull in, the state, the county, all the municipalities, and the business community, as well as private individuals to get back behind the organization and let it provide the services that it can.
Yeah. So did you write that grant?
I did, and we weren't going to write it. We thought it's too late to do it. We're not sure. There's compliance issues, and should we do it, should we not? And we thought, we don't have enough time. So I just started in January getting familiar with the job. And we decided, no, maybe we shouldn't do it. And then I was speaking with Jenny Hemley at another event from Department of Commerce, and she said, no, you definitely should apply. Come on, you could do it in a week. She probably thought, no, he really can't do it in a week. But she said, yeah, you can do it. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So I wrote the grant in 1 week, which was like way not enough time. But somehow it came out really good. They really liked it at Commerce, they told me. And we're amazed that I did it in a week. So
fantastic.
I just found out just a few days ago that we got that, so that'll help, get us going.
Wonderful.
Again.
Yeah. So where is that $30,000 going to go? How are you going to?
That's all for salary. That's to support the presence of an executive director. See, the organization had gone 2 years without a full-time executive director, and it took to have any executive directorship at all. It took one of the board members to step in and, on top of his day job, work half-time as an executive director, or try to do so. And it's just not enough. The position should have, ideally, if you look at what we can provide and what our vision and mission and goals are, that it really should have like 2.5 full-time equivalent personnel running this organization to provide services, and they had a half. And I'm doing it now with just me, one.
So now there's a one.
So I want to build it up.
Yep.
My goal is, as somebody who's actually retired, semi-retired, and of that age, I need to just put it on really solid ground for the future, find a replacement, and build it up to where I think it should be at a 2.5 FTE on solid footing, broadly supported across the county, and then maybe I can retire. So maybe, and that kind of stuff doesn't happen fast. So I'm giving it 6 years.
6
to get there.
All right.
If we can do it sooner, great. But
Brent, I love it. I love it. So, okay, speaking of the mission, vision, values, tell us a little bit about the mission of the Pend Oreille Economic Partnership.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. In fact, it's big. I would love it if we had a 5-word, statement of purpose and a 10-word mission. But it's more than that. It's a big thing, and it's an important thing. And so, if you don't mind, I'll just read it to you, the
Please
statement, because I'm afraid if I tried to wing it, I'm sure I'd leave something out.
Fair enough.
But it's been carefully crafted. This is my kind of rework of the work that was done in 21 and 22 by the board through that grant process, facilitated process. They did a lot of really, really good work, but part of that was to make that a living document and to refine it and grow it and improve it over time. And so we'll be working on that continuously. But I would say our vision statement, and they didn't prepare a vision statement per se. They had some purpose statements and mission statements, but I put our vision, and this is a work in progress, is for abundant opportunity and prosperity for our citizens, businesses, and community organizations, while preserving and protecting the natural environment that gives us a true 4-season recreational wonderland that is the envy of all and a major contributor to our quality of life. So that's our vision for the future. Our mission is to work broadly across the community to develop a vibrant economy of diverse businesses and industries that offer quality job opportunities and help build prosperity for all in Bonner County, to be a resource to our nonprofit communities, and to be the connective tissue that binds our businesses, community organizations, 9 municipalities, and the county all together.
Big.
Big.
Very big.
Yes.
Very needed. And really exciting, honestly.
I think so, too.
Yes. So let's keep going. So you've been doing this just since January, which is remarkable because you hosted a big summit not too long into your working at the partnership. So let's talk about just your role since you've started and how big of a whirlwind it's been. You've written a grant. You've received $30,000. You had 60 people come to your summit. I think you're killing it, Brent.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's been, in a way, I sit here and think like, I'm not getting enough done. But people keep supporting me and telling me, no, you've done a lot in the short time you've been in there. At first it's been hard because the volunteers, it was running a lot on, the volunteerism of, if you will, of the key membership that got it through the pandemic. And as you know, in any kind of community endeavor, when it's all volunteer-based, if the same volunteers tend to burn out. They have family life, they have personal life, and they have their business life, and it becomes hard. And I think when I stepped in, everybody went like, oh, good, finally we got that executive director. And then it's been difficult to wrap my head around what is the job, what's been done before, where is everything, how do we get it going, but then also challenged with quickly getting in funding, quickly hosting the summit, and getting a permanent office. Now we're here at the EnVision Center, which is a fantastic opportunity. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, we're pleased to have you. That's for certain.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
And so I guess it is a lot for a half a year, but it's been a learning curve. I just came back from the Northwest Community Development Institute, a week in Boise. I was there Sunday through Friday of the week before this previous week, and that was a great experience. It was people from Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, sponsored by the Departments of Commerce in Idaho and Oregon. So it's a 3-year class leading up to certification, which I'm really not concerned with the certification at this stage of my career, but I do want to learn, what it is I don't know and what are the resources and how can I do better. And the networking was phenomenal in my class that I was in. There were 40 participants from all over the Northwest, all of whom are there to help each other. And so there's this incredible network developed, out of the blue. It's just amazing, and including a lot of people at Commerce. So that was a real positive. And so now I feel like we're getting ready. Now that we have this new conference center here at the EnVision Center, I'm really excited because instead of every time I want to put on a class to help our business or organizational community, instead of having to find and schedule a space, like here it is available to us, ready to use. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
So, we're looking forward to, expanding the membership now and getting the class series rolling. So we'll probably start out with a business optimization class for entrepreneurs and small businesses, and I hope to have that, going. Probably the first one will be in September, I'm hoping. So
Fantastic. Well, I know 2 people who will be in attendance.
yes,
Tucker and myself.
oh, great, wonderful, awesome.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about 2 of those things that you mentioned. First was the Department of Commerce, and I just need to make a plug for the Department of Commerce because I have never reached out to a state organization and received such quick and effective communication. Holy Toledo. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were phenomenal. And then also I wanted to talk to you just about your background and what qualifies you for this job and your experience in the business world and how you came to this position.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I've been here a long time. I moved here in 1977 and went into business for myself in the fall of 77 and was continuously in business, self-employed in either companies I started or co-founded and that I was at least a part owner of, if not the sole owner, over that period of time. So about a 40-year run. And then I did a little bit of consulting, worked for another company for 4 years, and then went back to being self-employed. So I've all told, I've been working here 46 years, 42 of which were as an entrepreneur, business owner, and but also very involved in my community. During those years, I was on the school board, served as school board chairman back in the 90s, and before that was a fire district commissioner, and we wrote a grant and got a big grant, and then we took the Sago Fire District, which was a volunteer fire district, to a taxing entity, and eventually it, merged in and eventually became Selkirk Fire District. So I was involved with that. I founded a couple of nonprofits before. They were involved with education and training were the areas we were involved with, and helped co-found the Sandpoint Residential Carpentry Program and a bunch of other stuff like that, as well as soccer coach and all the normal stuff. So
I love it.
Been around, involved in the community, know a lot of people, and I've served for 20 years now on the Lakes Commission, which is a gubernatorial appointment. So I've got a lot of background, know a lot of people, been through the school of hard knocks, and I think I can help.
I love it. Well qualified for certain, that's for sure. Okay, so you said you have 15 members currently?
No, I think we're up to about, I think we have 20 paying members now. I think there were 12 paying members when I came on board, and the goal is to get it back up to 100 is where we need to be. And we need to include, we want the county, we're a rural district, and it's tough for rural districts, and that's why they have this grant program through Commerce, is just help I think there's 18 or 19 formally designated rural counties, and we're one of them. We're probably after unless they change the definition, after the 2030 census, because Sandpoint will almost for sure have over 10,000 residents. We will no longer qualify as a rural district. So the expectation is that economic development organizations be supported once they get to a certain size and a certain amount of economic activity. The cities and the counties and the businesses are expected to support, that organization. And so, like in Kootenai County, because Coeur d'Alene's been bigger than that for a long time, they're not eligible for this grant we just got, and but they're strongly supported. Their biggest supporters are Kootenai County, City of Post Falls, City of Coeur d'Alene, and then all the big businesses are all members now. They're very strong organizations, so we need to start moving toward that model of support.
Yeah. So what does a membership look like? What do they get from it, and what do they give to you, and how does that all work?
Well, the memberships are we have a broad range of memberships, ranging from more recent years we created one that we now call Friends and Associates, and it's like $179 a year, and it can be billed monthly, quarterly, and that's designed for entrepreneurs, really small businesses, retired folks who have been involved in this kind of thing, and they really don't have a business going, but they want to be involved. It's interesting, and they want to support it. So at that basic level, we have a very easy, membership. And then the different levels of corporate membership we offer range between $500 a year and $4,000 a year are sustaining members. And then, but we also want people to volunteer. We have, mentorship is a really big thing. Like a lot of some of our, companies I know recently, like in the specialty food industry, Lighthouse has been, really, really great. And Lighthouse, the owners of Lighthouse, the Hawkins family, back in 2000 were members of the original founding group that founded this. And when companies come in here and relocate, they're really helpful in reaching out and sharing resources to help. They don't say, oh, that's competition. No, they say, this is strengthening our community. So they do all they can to help new people coming in. They've been fabulous. And, likewise in helping our own, we have the Kitchen Pend Oreille there helping lots of little businesses. So trying to get a start. So there's a lot of mentorship in the restaurant industry, in the food industry, in tech industry, anything that's a special skill of the membership. We want our people to be available to help, others, whether it's just in terms of referring, introductions, mentorship, whatever it is they can do. And then sometimes, like, we need sponsors to put on the summit. Everything we do, we provide for free, although we do charge now for the summit. It's expensive to put it on. And so we need sponsorship there because the ticket prices don't cover the cost of putting that on. So in addition to membership, we ask, as well for sponsorship when possible.
Great.
And I don't know, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think it did. Yeah. So how are you different from like a chamber of commerce? How do you go hand in hand, and how do you differ? And just explain that maybe for our listeners.
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's something that people try and wrap their heads around in communities all across the country, but it is very different. The Chamber of Commerce focuses more on, tends to focus more on service industry and tourism and food and beverage and welcoming new people, whether it's as a tourist, people coming and visiting and wanting to know what's here, or new people moving into the area. I'm just moving here and what's here, and that's how you get familiar with the resources, who's there, what is there. So they're the welcome wagon to the business community, if you will, and more. And they have an ongoing leadership Sandpoint, program. But they're focusing on Sandpoint, and we're countywide, so we're interested in the rural areas as well, and we're interested in discovering. There's been a shift. People used to think of economic development as just bringing new business to town or creating new jobs. They'd measure success by how many new jobs did we create, and right now there's more demand for help in our business community than there is supply. So really, even more than finding new business, we need to find new workers. So, and the paradigm's changed without developing infrastructure to accommodate new business. That's not necessarily helpful, and we have a bit of a housing crisis. affordable housing crisis. So bringing in a new company that says, oh, we're going to bring in 50 new employees and we're going to house them where?
Right.
So that doesn't help. So we need to be dealing systematically and simultaneously with our infrastructure issues, and especially with housing, workforce housing, especially for the for young people and for the service industries. We need to make provisions for those communities and have stepping stones as they leave that. Right now, there's kind of a gap between what's available for that initial entry-level housing, whether it be rental or ownership, but then there's a big gap between what's actually out there on the market. So we need to have steps and have it coordinated with what are the businesses we have here, what are the wages they can pay, and what are the housing opportunities that go with that, and that all has to be looked at kind of holistically or organically to properly solve the problem. So we're looking at doing a study starting later this year to determine if we're going to attract industry here, what industry. We don't want to attract just anybody, but we want to know what will serve the community that's already here. So I plan to go around to all our businesses that I can and interview, saying if there were to be a new business to move in to help support your business, what would that be? And see if we can find patterns of who it is we should be talking to before we do outreach. We don't want to just say, oh, everybody come here.
Right.
I think some of the traffic issues we're seeing and so on makes us think maybe that's not the best approach. So we want to be very targeted in who we invite here and instead focus more on helping those that are already here, strengthen the businesses that are here already, help them with their talent pipeline, and help them, optimize, grow, and scale their businesses so we can see economic growth without attracting anybody new, actually, although we will want to attract some new, but like I say, we'd like that to be very targeted.
Yeah. Do you guys do any programs within the school system to start getting kids on track or thinking in terms of entrepreneurship, or is that something that may come down the pipeline? Or?
Yes, that's on the horizon. There are programs in place. There are actually a lot of programs. We partner right now with, at our economic summit, we had representatives from Lake Pend Oreille School District and from the University of Idaho and from the NIC Workforce Training Program. They were all there, and we do already interact and collaborate and work together, but we need to do more and do better and do differently. And then there's a grant through that was brought into Kootenai County Economic Development, and then they subcontract to us to help with Bonner County. It's the Talent Pipeline Management Program. So we're trying to bring industry groups, cohorts together to help determine, what are the skill sets and the type of people we need, and develop pipelines collaborating with the existing school districts and the colleges and universities, and developing apprenticeship programs to actually start creating very well-defined, pipelines to our businesses because they need it.
Right. Okay, I have two questions. I think I'm going to go with this one first about historically, what is your guys' greatest achievement? I think it ties into what you've been talking about here a little bit.
Well, it's hard to say. I've seen that question there, and it's hard to say what is the one achievement. And since I wasn't involved with the organization in its first 2 decades, I don't feel really like I'm the one to speak to it. But I think of it as just the creation with the commitment they made of the original founders. I see as it was a great achievement because it really. Before there was a Destination Sandpoint, which is Sandpoint specific organization. It lasted about a decade, and then I think it disbanded, and then this replaced it, but it made it countywide and with a different type of commitment from those visionary founders. And I think the founding of it itself was a great achievement. And then on top of that, I know when they lobbied to bring in the post that allowed us to have broadband high-speed internet. And then the city of, and they turned it over to the city of Sandpoint, then developed and spread that network. And now it's growing, countywide, but it started here in Sandpoint. I thought that was really a pivotal event, but then also expanding the base of our economy. When I moved here in the 70s, the base of the economy had been traditionally, it was all, logging and mills and mining and ranching, and then the services that serve those industries. And then recreation was the nascent new industry regionally. But then they took it and evolved it beyond there. And then we got into, aerospace and the airport development around the airport, high-tech manufacturing, aerospace, and now technology and other industries have been brought in to expand and diversify our economic base. So I think that, along with the broadband internet and the actual founding of the organizations, those are the ones I'm aware of.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think those all, that laying the groundwork of the fiber, bringing that in, creating this pipeline of people that can now come and work here. We have more like Gen X and Gen Z people moving here than ever, and they all work from home and remotely, and they can do that because of the internet that's here. How does that affect our economy? People who work remotely and live here. What does that do to us?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity, we really need that broadband expanded further. I mean, we're doing really well in our more urban centers in our rural county, but most of the people in the county, something like 3/4 of the people in the county live rurally and don't have high speed fiber broadband. And so there are grants occurring right now. There's a lot of infrastructure grant money being awarded right now. It's very competitive. There's a lot of people going after it, but we really need to see that happening. Like where I live down in Carywood, and I am a long ways off from, I hope I live long enough to ever see it, but I would like to down at my place. But it's a great thing because a lot of people moved here to live rurally, but need to support themselves and really don't want to have to drive half hour each way, which is a lot of miles here. And in terms of, climate change and people being on the road and consuming fuels, it keeps things more efficient. Everybody's saving over an hour a day of their precious time. With the child care crisis, it means you can work at home, you can take care of children, you can do there's a lot of subsistence farming and agriculture and horticultural activity on smaller acreages. Anywhere from 2 to 40 acres is very small in the agricultural world, but you can't necessarily fully support yourself on anything you do on those kind of acreages. So you need to supplement. But if you don't have to drive and you can take care of children but be productive and contribute to society, it makes a huge difference getting broadband accessible to our rural communities. I see as a big priority.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. Is there anything that you would like to tell our community of listeners about how they can support you or learn more about your efforts or what's coming down the pipe?
Well, I would love to see people, more people join up. We're up to 20 or so, a few over 20 maybe members now. We want to get it to 100. My goal is to get 100 to 100 within a year, but with everything else going on, I don't know if I'll hit that goal. But we want everybody to join, really, as many as can. And we want people to keep their eyes out for the upcoming workshops coming up in classes, because we're going to have some great ones on entrepreneurship, on business optimization, on leadership, and also getting some community discussions going. We've already started at the summit. We are really not happy about some of the polarization and the way public discourse proceeds in the political realm in the county, and we don't see that as helpful. And we need to get dialogue going between the various communities, because really what anybody who's lived here a long time knows that what Bonner County is really about is about being really good neighbors. And sometimes we just respect each other's privacy. It doesn't mean we're all in each other's business all the time, but I know from experience when a neighbor's in need, our neighbors are there and we take care of each other. And that's the real Bonner County. So we need to get back to talking just like we're neighbors. And so
Yeah.
that's going to be an initiative, is getting people to talk to each other,
Mm-hmm.
be neighbors, and not fight with each other.
Yep.
So that's on tap too.
Yep. I think that's part of the Community Resource EnVision Center's goal as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, across the board. I know. And I saw on here, the biggest challenge has been re-engaging after COVID. And that to me is part of the re-engaging after COVID, is just people learning to be people again, and to kind of just let that anger and that fear and that like tense behavior that was kind of coming out of people at that time, to just like shove that off and get back to who you were, and how to look people in the eye and have a conversation and help them when they need a hand, and to just get back to a little bit of the normalcy that we had and the things that made Bonner County so wonderful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Well, Brent, thank you so much for being here today. And I'll see you at your desk because you're 10 paces away from me now. It's great. I'm excited to see you for the rest of the year, and to see what kind of, not summits, but conferences and classes you're going to have in the conference room over there. It's going to be wonderful.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for listening to today's episode. For more information, you can go to crecIdaho.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again soon.